Hey everyone, welcome back to eCoreAcademy. My name is Ranen Shakir, and this is our first pre-algebra lesson. As you can see by the title, it's order of operations. So this is what this lesson's about. We're going to figure out what order of operations is. So before we get started, make sure to leave a comment down below, like and subscribe. So it really help our channel out. So thank you. So order of operations. So this is our first lesson where we'll cover order of operations, which is the basic rule in solving mathematical problems. And what we learned today will be used throughout the rest of our course and all other math classes ever. Believe it or not, you have been using this before this lesson, excuse me. So let's just dive into it and see what's up. So first thing, I want to define what is the order of operations. So the definition of an order of operations is a rule that tells us the correct sequence in order to solve a mathematical problem. Now, there are 5 rules that we need to follow in order to correctly solve a problem. So let's go define these right now. So the acronym we use to remember order of operations is PEMDAS. You might have seen this before. If not, this is PEMDAS. I'll explain it to you. So the P stands for parentheses, the E stands for exponents, the M stands for multiplication from left to right, the D stands for division left to right, addition, A stands for addition left to right, and S stands for subtraction left to right. So what does this all mean? This means that whatever you have to follow your equation or your question in this order. So the first thing you have to solve are your parentheses, then your exponents, then your multiplication or division. I'll explain that in a second. They can be switched, and same thing with addition and subtraction. They can be switched also. So take a second to write this down, and I'll go over it into further detail in the next couple of slides to show what this actually means and what I mean from left to right and how to use it in a problem, and we'll do some problems together. So this is PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, division, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, in that order. So when you have this all copied down, let's move on. So what is PEMDAS? So parentheses indicates which part of the problem must be done first. Anything in parentheses must be done first. Simple as that. The E stands for exponents, which definition of exponents is a number raised to a certain power. So I have an example here. 2 raised to the second power is the same thing as 2 times 2, which equals 4. If you don't understand exponents right now as much as you'd like, don't worry, we have an entire lesson on exponents when we get to equations. But having a basic knowledge of exponents is required for this course. That's why it was in the we're learning this too. So an exponent is any number raised to a certain power or any other power. In this example, you see 2 to the second power is 2 times 2, which is 4. So multiplication is next, which is an operation where you add multiple equal groups. Repeated addition, I'm sure you guys know what multiplication is. An example here, 3 times 2 is the same thing as 3 plus 3, which equals 6. I'm sure you guys know what multiplication is, but this is what it is. And then next is division, an operation that splits up numbers into equal groups. So here an example, 6 divided by 2 is 3. You take 6, you put it into 2 equal groups, there's going to be 3 in each. Next is addition, an operation that takes numbers and finds the sums. I'm sure you know what this is. 5 plus 5 is 10, basic addition. And subtraction is an operation that takes away from a group or number. 10 minus 7 is 3. So these are what the definitions of PEMDAS, of each letter in PEMDAS is. Again, it's parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So take a second to pause the video, copy this down, and let's move on. So what do I mean by left to right, which you saw in the previous slide, excuse me. So for multiplication and division, you'll always solve any problem left to right for multiplication and division. So it comes before addition and subtraction, and do whichever operation comes first after solving the parentheses and exponents. This is very important. You have to solve multiplication division after you solve your parentheses or exponents if they are present. If they're not, you just do multiplication and division left to right. Same thing with addition and subtraction. So you always solve left to right, come after multiplication and division, and do whichever operation comes first after solving parentheses, exponents, multiplication, and division, if any in the problem, of course. What this means is, same thing as multiplication division, you must solve your parentheses, your exponents, your multiplication, and your division in your equation, if there are any, of course. Then you solve your addition and subtraction, and you don't always have to do addition before subtraction. These can be switched around. Same thing, multiplication and division, which means if division comes before your multiplication in your a problem and you did your parentheses and exponents, you go in that order. We'll see some in the examples that we do in a second, so you can visually see what I'm talking about. So here's our first problem. I'll walk you guys through this one so you can see what I'm talking about. So our problem is 4 plus 2 times 6 minus 5. So we have to keep in mind PEMDAS, and these are the steps we need to take to solve this problem. So the first step is going to be to multiply the 2 and 6. So when we multiply the 2 and 6, you get 12, and since we know that multiplication is before addition or subtraction, we have to do multiplication first. So 2 times 6 is 12, and the second step is to add or subtract from left to right. When we do that, we see how there's only addition and subtraction in our problem, in our solution left. So we have to add from left to right, which is what I mean. Since addition comes before subtraction in this problem, we add. So 4 plus 12 is 16. Then our final step is going to be to subtract 16 minus 5, and it's 11. So your answer to this problem, the answer to 4 plus 2 times 6 minus 5 is 11. Common mistakes you would see is that people would add first, do 4 plus 2, then times 6 minus 5. That is incorrect. You're going to do multiplication first, since that comes before addition and subtraction in our PEMDAS. Let's work through another one, and then the last one, last couple ones, I'll let you do by yourself so you can see how it is. So again, this is our problem, 15 times 2 divided by 30 divided by 5. So PEMDAS is really important here. We see that the first step is to divide the numbers in the parentheses, since we discussed before that parentheses is the first thing you have to do in order of operations. So the first thing you must do is divide the numbers into parentheses, which means you're going to have to divide the 30 and the 5. So when we divide 30 and 5, we get 6. 30 divided by 5 is 6. And since we're done with the equations in parentheses, we can get rid of it. Simple as that. And the next thing is going to be multiplying the 15 and the 2, since this is since our only operations left are multiplication and division. And as we discussed earlier, you can you have to solve from left to right, no matter which one of those comes first in the problem. In this instance, the multiplication comes first, so we have to multiply the 15 and the 2, and we get 30. And our last thing is to divide the numbers, the rest of the numbers, which is 30 and 6. 30 divided by 6 is 5, so our answer is 5. All right, let's see how you guys do with this one. So take a second, do this by yourself, pause the video, and come back, and we'll talk about it. All right, hopefully you pause the video and try to solve this, and now let's work through it. Remember, always, first thing remember is PEMDAS, and here are our, our list. Okay, here we go. So the first thing we're going to need to do is solve the numbers in the parentheses. Hopefully you did that right. And you have to work from left to right. And when we do this, we have to multiply the 5 and the 6 first, and that's since multiplication comes before subtraction or addition in PEMDAS. So hopefully you did that first, and then you get 30, because 5 times 6 is 30. And the next thing is work from left to right using PEMDAS. In this instance, in the parentheses, it's only addition and subtraction. So you just subtract first and then add first. Like I said, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division are interchangeable when they're when you're doing left to right. So in this instance, 30 minus 6, you're going to get 24. And then the next thing is to add 24 and 12. Since we're still having a parentheses, we're not done with the parentheses yet. Once we add 24 and 12, we get 36. And then step 2 will be to divide 49 and 7. Since in PEMDAS, division comes before addition or subtraction. Once we do that, we get 7. 49 divided by 7 is 7. And our final step is just going to be to add the rest of this, and we get 43. So if you got 43, good job. If not, go back and take a look what you might have gotten wrong, and see if you can try it again next time. So let's do one more problem. You guys try this one on your own, and pause the video, and let's see what you guys get. Hopefully you guys are right. So pause the video, try to solve this, and we'll do it together right after. All right. So hopefully you pause the video and you try to solve this on your own. So let's do it together now. Of course, PEMDAS, point of this video. All right, so if you remember, the first thing is to solve the numbers in the parentheses. So since the parentheses has more than one operation, we have to move on. So we have to look at exponents. So now the first thing we have to do is solve the exponents before we multiply. So as we discussed before, having a basic knowledge of exponents will help you here. And this was actually even in our example of what exponent is. So your first step is to solve your exponents. In this case, you're going to get 4 because 2 times 2 is 4, and 2 to the second power is the same thing as 2 times 2, which is 4. So we did that. Now we have to do PEMDAS from left to right inside the parentheses. Once again, so the first thing you have to do is multiply your 4 and the 2. You're going to get 8. 4 times 2 is 8. And then the final step inside the parentheses is going to be to add 8 plus 7 is 15. Now we can get rid of parentheses because we're done with the operations inside of that. So the next step is we must follow PEMDAS. So that means we have to multiply the 4 and the 3 before we subtract the 15 from the 4. So we have to multiply the 4 and the 3. 4 times 3 is 12, and our final operation is to subtract the remaining values. 15 minus 12, excuse me, is 3. So your answer to the solution is going to be 3. Again, if you got it right, good job. If not, go back and look where you might have gone wrong and try to fix it. So that was order of operations. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Once we get into more complex problems, they're going to get a little bit more out there. You're gonna try to figure out what to do then, but don't worry, I'll walk you right through it. Everything will be fine. So this concludes our video of order of operations. Pretty neat topic actually, and pretty simple topic. So if you can practice with this and understand it, you should be good to go for the next lessons. And we have to use order of operations all the time in math whenever we do any type of math. So before you leave, please make sure to like and subscribe and check out our website. You got some really cool stuff going on there, getting a lot of more subjects in there and a lot more different teachers, different faces, which is also really nice. Feel free to email us at eCoreAcademy@gmail.com with any comments, questions, or concerns. And of course, our other socials will be in the description box down below. So leave a comment, leave a like, anything is appreciated. And once again, thank you for stopping by and watching this video, Order of Operations. Hopefully you learned something new. Hopefully you refreshed some of your memory. And I'll be back next week for our next lesson, which is going to be on place value. So stay tuned for that. So once again, thank you for stopping by, watching this video. I'm Ranen Shakir. I'll see you guys next week, and have a good day.